Welcome to Delphimatic PTSD on the front lines. This is podcast number 2. Today we're going to talk about the Post Christmas P.T.S.D blues and the approaching of New Year's. For many people during this time of year as first responders, they find it quite challenging that during the Christmas season where we're supposed to be very happy. I can personally testify that the experiences of trauma and bad calls around Christmas time seems to be very poignant. And it also seems to stick out more so during Christmas time. I believe it's mostly because of the fact that during the Christmas period we're supposed to be joyous and happy, etc. And Christmas calls and it just seem to be just that much more hard and challenging to accept. I remember one year of having upwards of 6 to 8 calls where I pronounced patients during the Christmas time, between 2 weeks before Christmas, and it was extremely challenging and very, very emotional time. The timing of bad calls during Christmas just seems to make Christmas all that much difficult. Like I said earlier, we're supposed to try and be in a good mood for our families, but yet we're dealing with death at work, so it becomes really hard. Being diagnosed with PTSD, for myself, I always had a hard time dealing with any gatherings and getting together and spending time with loved ones. I don't know why that is, but the gatherings seem to be an increased stress instead of an increased joy for a lot of times. The anxiety of things going right, trying to be everything for everybody around us is always really kind of challenging, especially around Christmas time. Christmas shopping over the years has been, for myself and for a lot of other people, really difficult. Most of us don't like crowds and crowded shopping malls, and during the Christmas time it's extremely busy. It doesn't seem to let up whatsoever. However, with the start of online shopping, it's become, I think, very easy because this year was the first year I did a lot of my shopping online, and it was less crowds and less malls and stuff like that, so it seemed to be less overwhelming from that aspect. Dealing with Christmas and the Christmas blues and the post-Christmas blues specifically, and working towards New Year's, there's a few things that I have found that kind of help me, especially in my recovery. One of the things is recognizing is that this time of year is going to be challenging, and that it's really important for myself and other people who are trying to work through post-traumatic stress disorder and being first responders to keep the lines of communication open with other members who are struggling through the same things that we are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. We're not by ourselves in this type of fight. Most other people are struggling during this period of time, so it's important that we work on keeping those lines of communication open. The second thing I want to talk about is the importance of being kind to yourself. First thing is being acceptance of where you are in your recovery, and that during the Christmas season it can be really challenging, and that we need to be very cognizant of our self-talk. Speaking for myself again, the negative hamster on the wheel can be very, very, very difficult to shut up some days, and it takes a lot of specific effort to turn around and make sure that I monitor my self-talk, and I give myself praise and be kind and gentle. I know it sounds kind of wishy-washy, but really at the end of the day, our self-talk is probably one of the most challenging things that I know that I fight day to day. During getting together and parties and Christmas time, and even with New Year's coming up, it's interesting that we want to be there for everybody and be a part of the process, but we also have to make sure that we pace ourselves and take time outs. We don't have to take big time outs, but many time outs, just to kind of do these little brief check-in sessions for ourselves. Take a moment during a party or during a get-together if you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed, and just go out and do a little bit of breathing meditation and just try to get yourself back and focused. I apologize for drinking the coffee, but I need a coffee right now today. We can maximize those mini timeouts to get centered, even by going to washroom breaks, or if you're a smoker, stepping outside and having a cigarette. It's pretty important to desensitize ourselves in an essence. Maybe desensitize may not be the right word, but to get away from the stimulation when we're feeling that point where we're starting to get overwhelmed. Even if we turn around, if we take our time and do these mini breaks throughout the process of the experience of our gatherings, so we don't get overwhelmed. It just it allows us, like I said, it's good to get really, really focused and stay focused. I find too that another thing that helps me deal with a lot of the stresses, and this is not just during the Christmas season, is writing. Take a second, daily to turn around and write about exactly what is going on and how you feel about that and what emotions are kind of impacting on you. Getting things down on paper, even if it's a very small piece of writing, it can be extremely impactful, and it can also lead to some very interesting insights. About 18 months ago, a colleague of mine said to me, he says, you should start trying to write to get some of the negative stuff out. And I did. I started doing a little bit of blogging and a little bit of writing, and then it turned into writing a book that I'm hoping that's going to be finished this year. Well, actually early 2018. It's going to be an experience about growing up, getting into a uniform, being a paramedic and firefighter and dispatcher, and then the experiences of getting sick with PTSD. So writing for myself, especially when I'm troubled by things that are going on, is can be very, very therapeutic and cathartic and really, really helpful. Tomorrow I want to discuss the importance of self-care. We've kind of touched on it today about taking time outs and meditating, but I'd like to discuss ideas for self-care, about what self-care is, and the things that we can do on a day-to-day basis that enhance our own self-care. I found that when I was in a treatment program for post-traumatic stress disorder, that one of the things I did not do very well is I did not really actually provide a lot of self-care for myself. It seems that it would be a really easy thing to do, but for a lot of us, when we spend these years of being responders and putting other people first, we kind of lose ourselves, and we lose the importance of taking care of ourselves. So tomorrow we're going to discuss some things on self-care. Until then, I wish you to have a great, calm, centered, focused 24 hours. Have a great day. Have a great Friday. Bye for now.